Hi, my name is Christopher McKinney, and I run an online trading card store called Midwest Card Dealer. So it started when I was a kid, just a fascination with trading cards. My grandmother worked as a civilian for this place called Fort Detrick in Frederick, Maryland. It's like a military town, it's a military base. My grandma used to bring home booster packs of Pokemon cards for us on the weekends, and my brother and I used to open those booster packs and, we played as kids. The game had just came out, it was very popular, and, as a kid, I didn't know anything about Magic the Gathering, let alone really any other trading card for that matter. And I think that started the passion behind it. Just the way the cards looked, the colors, the way that those cards smelled when you open the booster pack, and it's like fresh cardboard and ink. And that really set this passion to just be around them. I feel like I'm myself. I didn't have any card stores or a comic shop to go to growing up. We just didn't live near any, and I didn't have any friends. My parents didn't have a reason to take us to one, so why would I ever go? My brother and I stayed at home and pretty much played like Mario and Pokemon on our Game Boys, and trading cards were just something that we collected together as kids, and didn't have a chance to really have it pick up more until I was in my teenage and early adult years. Getting into junior high and high school, we'd pick up Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering. You start to meet other kids at school that maybe would play here and there, but it seemed to be a weird point where into junior high and high school, like it wasn't cool, so nobody really played card games once you were past like 6th or 7th grade. They left that to the kids. And then you get into adulthood and you find that there's like hundreds of fully grown people like you that just like card games and have a passion for it. And it was like a door had opened. In my early 20s, I started participating in card game communities as a volunteer. I wanted to organize tournaments for the Final Fantasy trading card game, which is what our store is primarily known for. A lot of careful consideration and not really knowing what I was going to do for the rest of my life, it kind of hit me that there is a market for trading cards and this entertainment industry. I just kind of woke up one morning and realized that this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. Life is too short to not, do the things that you want to do, make money the way that you want to make it. I like the job that I have outside of cards, but I don't want to work for a corporation for the rest of my life, and that's why I wanted to start a business. Not having a card store and not having that place growing up and then seeing that in my adult life has helped me realize that my true calling is to have that kind of community to give to other people. It's more important to me not to have the cards, but to share that passion with other people. Have a place for kids to come in and have their first card game like Pokemon, and watch that passion and that interest grow, and have them grow into adults, and those adults have kids of their own that bring them in and they can share the passion with their kids. You have these kids who grew up playing Pokemon that are now playing Magic the Gathering or cards that are more receptive with adults, because it's a little more complicated of a card game. But I want to give that back to people because I didn't have it myself growing up. So Midwest Card Dealer started in 2016, I think is when I actually put it together. It was just a username that I made that made sense. It was a play on words of like Midwest car dealership or a car dealer. Salesman, if you will. I made an account on TCG Player selling secondhand Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'd open up booster packs, and if there was something that was worth it, I would, flip the card, sell it online, and that was a side hustle, hobby, if you will. And that's kind of what started it. It wasn't something that I really had the intentions of running a full-fledged card store. It was something that I kept in the back of my head, but I never really focused on it until I had a lot more stock and inventory to actually begin something. But that's kind of where it began. It was just in my apartment when I was living in Southwest Iowa, just selling small Yu-Gi-Oh cards on the internet, and it grew from there. In the case of our logo, we pulled the crystal from Final Fantasy. It's actually the same crystal design that you see on the trading cards. As Final Fantasy trading card game is a large amount of our product and one of our big sellers, it's a big inspiration for why I wanted to jump into the card communities and also, start a business around trading cards. And that's where the crystal design comes from. The flowers behind it are goldenrods, which are the Nebraska state flower. So that goes right in with the Midwest motif. As we're based in Nebraska, it's the Nebraska state flower. And ironically enough, the goldenrod is also, it's classified as a weed. Now, while people would think of that as an unsavory kind of thing, weeds are resilient. They flourish and they grow no matter what the circumstances they're in. They're very hardy and durable. And that also conveys into how we want to be. I like the flexibility of being my own boss. I think it's a very exciting and a very fun endeavor to, lay the groundwork and watch it grow. It's interesting to learn new things. I'm going to try things that work and things that don't work. It's a very, big learning experience, and there's a lot of trial and error with it as well. And I'm just as excited to try something and find that it doesn't work as I am to try something and find that I'm successful as well. I like handling the trading cards more than anything on the, planet. It's just a fun, magical feeling. I get very nostalgic just being able to handle cards. I like the way that they look and the way that they feel. Admiring the different foiling patterns on higher rarity cards, if there's foils or textures, embossments. It's just a very cool, very fun thing to do. It's cool to take this hobby and turn it into my life. One, that I get to handle cards all day. It's a lot of handling and interacting with cards. It's cool to see what other people are playing or what people are having an interest in. One of the most exciting parts of having Midwest Card Dealer is being able to organize events. It's just as exciting for me to coordinate and be at an event as it is to compete and be a part of an event. I have had the pleasure of hosting events, being a volunteer tournament organizer. So that's on a local level, getting people together once or twice a week. And, we have a small tournament where we'll play a couple rounds of games, and whoever comes out on top gets, extra booster packs and promos. Those promos come out of my personal collection and wallet, and I like being able to give that to somebody and give them a reason to want to come back on a week-to-week basis. It's cool to watch people get passionate and fiery about these same card games that I'm passionate about. You get to travel in like a competitive sense during different times of the year. If you're playing a card game that has a tournament scene or structure, there's different events going on all around the world, really. Last May, actually, we'll be coming up on a year pretty soon, I flew down to Florida to the Haven Games with James Lockwood. He had just opened up a store with Matt Heffelfinger, and they had a large tournament for Final Fantasy. I think there was about 86 people that attended, and I was a judge for that tournament. I came down on, my own time, my own dollar, to help run and officiate And I had an absolute blast. It was awesome just to be there and be a part of that camaraderie. It's almost like a giant family reunion. You know, all these people you meet from playing card games and from going to different events, you make friendships, you make rivalries. You know, people are talking smack and having banter about how they're gonna, you know, pummel each other's face in on game day during the cards, because there's competitive, healthy spirit in it. But there's also like bro hugs all around, people who you've maybe seen once or twice and you haven't seen them in a year or two, and it was like time never went anywhere. And it's so magical to see that happiness and compassion and, you know, real just togetherness. It's like a giant family, and I couldn't be happier to be a part of it. So our mission is to provide the best-in-class service in the tabletop industry. There's 3 pillars that Midwest Card Dealer prides itself on. One, that's fast, friendly service from the minute you place your order to the minute you receive it at your doorstep. Competitive prices. As much as I need to, you know, run a business and make money, you have to know your worth. You can't sit here and overcharge for products. You want to have fair, competitive prices, and I honor that. If somebody has it cheaper, but I have the product and somebody wants it, let me know. We can talk about it. I'll price match. You know, I want to make sure that my cards and my product is accessible for people and not breaking the bank either. And really the third thing is to aspire and stand among the pillars of the tabletop industry. You think of places that have existed for a long time, Rochester CCG, the Haven Games down in Florida, which was previously Cards of Ivalice and Flesh and Blood. Fab Arsenal, I think is what it was, with Matt Heffelfinger. Your local places that you go to play D&D, you know, Legendary Wolf Games, places that we've had locally that, you know, were large supporters of card games. I want to be among those people. I want to be another name that people think of when they hear of Final Fantasy trading card game or Pokemon or Wii Cross, you know, any of those card games that we support. I want to be known for that. As a reminder, you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Search for Midwest Card Dealer. We also have a Facebook community that also has a link to our Discord as well. If you search for Midwest Card Collective through Facebook, we can get you acclimated and point you in the right direction for where to get started if you took an interest in any of these card communities. If you want to shop singles from us or any card products, you can find us on TCG Player. You can either search for the seller, Midwest Card Dealer, or our online storefront, midwestcarddealer.tcgplayerpro.com. On our website, we do have an events calendar where you can see what days we get together and play. If you're interested in playing Final Fantasy TCG in the Omaha area, on Wednesdays, we get together at 7 p.m. Central Time at Cafe Monster Coffee and Games in Omaha. That's off of 84th and West Center Road. And on Sundays, we get together at 3:30 to 4 p.m. For Final Fantasy trading card games as well at Goblin God Games off of 71st and Maple Street, west of Benson. We're a very small company from humble beginnings, and we're growing as much as we can, and we're going to continue to be the best service that we can be for you, for the world, for card games and those communities. And hopefully we will see you in our storefront sometime in the future.